Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I'm your host as always, Professor Prime. So today we're going to talk about math and poker. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to talk about the basic rules of poker. Just to be clear, the very basic rules, because there are variants, and we could get into that, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about the premise, the basic rules, the types of hands, and just kind of go from there, talking about math along the way. So yeah, let's get into it. And before we get into it. I'm so used to some of my other videos where I'm talking about like a game or I'm talking about a show or a movie and then I have to say like spoilers ahead. But we don't have to worry about that here. Okay, so the idea with poker, the basic idea is that you have your players, you're dealt like your cards, and you're going around and looking at your hands and comparing said hands. And each of the types of hands that you could get have their value when compared to each other. So like, oh well, this one type of hand is beating this other hand, and we'll get into the types in a little bit. But that's the idea, and like betting along the way, and as you're going around, it's like, hey, someone can match you, or someone could raise the ante, or you could fold. The idea being like, oh nope, my hand is crap, or someone's probably has a better one, and you can dip out. So you can bet and keep on going until like either everyone has folded except for the person, or no one's folding, so you have to call it and show your cards. But however it shakes out, you're ultimately going around and comparing things and comparing values, and it's just like it's math across the board. There's a lot of probability in it. You could be bluffing people, so there's psychology in that, and then just like keeping track of the cards the best you can if possible. And of course, math and the money, if you're using money, but math and betting in general. So just on those basic levels, it's mathematical. Like that's just like a lot of card games. They're centered around math. So let's go into it a little further. So in most cases, you're going to be using a 52 card deck, right? And as you're going around, each player is going to get 5 cards typically. And so at this point, we're going to talk about the hands, because we talked about what they're going to be doing once they get the card. So you know what it is, right? Like they're comparing, they're going around, they're checking, folding, bluffing their way, or doing whatever they do till they get to the end. But yeah, and with the types of hands, there are 10 types to consider here. Uh, there's high card, one pair, two pair, three of a kind, straight, flush, um, full house, four of a kind, straight flush, and royal flush. So like 10 overall. Like when when I had it like that, I felt like I was about to like spike a ball. So let's talk about those types of hands and what they indicate. So with high pair, oh sorry, I was fusing things. High card. The idea is like of those like 5 cards you're dealing with, you don't have any cards that can be matched up in sequential order. Like you don't have 5 cards that are doing that. So you don't have something like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, you don't have any cards that could be paired off. So it's like you don't have like an ace and an ace, or queen and a queen, two and a two, right? So there's really not much you could do that, and you kind of have to go what your highest card is there, right? And then you have the idea of one pair, so that's the second type. And with one pair, it's just like 2 cards, any suits doesn't matter. Like could have ace and ace, 10 and 10, 3 and 3, so on and so forth. Um, and then with two pair, it's like again the suits don't matter for that, but the idea is like you have to have two pairs, and then the rest of the cards are unmatched. And like with one pair, the idea is like the other cards are unmatched after that pair. So with two pairs, like, well, maybe I got 10 and 10, 5 and 5, or in some other card, and then maybe I have 4 and 4, 7 and 7, some other card, and so on and so forth. Um, and then you have the idea of three of a kind, where it's like again it could be any suits, but the idea is like I have to have like 3 of the same cards. So Maybe you have like ace, ace, and ace, which would be cool. Um, or maybe I have five, five, and five, six, six, and six. That wasn't intentional, but it's like, oh no, now it's gonna be a cursed video. Um, but the idea is like you have three cards that are the same type, but they could be they're different suits, and that doesn't matter. Then like the other two cards are unmatched, um, and then you have the idea of a straight. And here, suit doesn't matter, but sequential order does for the card. So it's like, I could have something like two, three, four, five, and six, and that's good for a straight. For a flush, it has to be all the same suit, but the sequential order of the cards don't matter. So it's like I could have an ace and a queen and a three and a six and a seven of spades, and bam, I have a flush, right? And then you have the idea of a full house where it's like I have three of a kind and one pair. So it's like I could have like a queen, queen, and queen for the three of a kind, and then maybe just a two and a two for the pair. But that is going to be my full house. And then you have four of a kind, which different suits, all the same type of card. So I could have four, 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 four. And that would be good. And then that next step up, I have a straight flush. So combine those ideas of a straight and a flush. Um, so I have to have the cards in sequential order and of the same suit for that. So back to that really basic example at the beginning, like two, three, four, five, and six. If I had that, and I had that in, let's say, diamonds, then I have a straight flush, right? And then you have the idea of like royal flush, and in some circles known as royal straight flush. So it's the idea of a straight flush, but just with the royal cards, and that is to say the face cards in 10. So like if I had ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 of clubs, then I have a royal flush. And everything I was describing is in order that beats the thing before it. And so royal flush is at the tippy top there, and nothing beats it, but it can be tied with, which is crazy, but it happens, right? Like so you could have two people have a royal flush, right, or more in some cases, and it's like that's bonkers. So yeah, as you're playing with that, you have like each person getting five cards, and there's 10 types of hands that we're dealing with here, and they go in the order that I described. Um, yeah, so with like the high card hand at the lowest and the royal straight at the top, and I like that with some of those steps that we were saying, like some of them are fusing ideas from previous steps, so I think that's pretty cool. And so yeah, that's the basic idea, right? So you're going around and you're comparing hands and you're betting and you're seeing what the other players are doing, and while at the same time you're trying to see what you're doing. So some of it is observing your hand, and you could play it really safe that way. And then the other thing is like just considering what other people might have, right? And also, some people they could be bluffing. You don't know. Some people have what they say is a poker face, as you may have heard, right? Where they could be bluffing and you just can't tell. Maybe they're really that good. And then you got to be careful because there's some people that might have a crappy hand, and they're bluffing so that you can think they have a high hand, and that's typical. But you could have someone that just wants to mess with you and maybe like they have a really good hand, but they're acting like they don't, so they're bluffing you but like in the other direction just to be a dick. It happens. So in any case, right, there's a lot of math in poker, a lot of strategy, a lot of psychology, and that's core. Like the rules, the premise is just mathematical, and that is the case for a lot of card games and games in general. like everything is math and everything, but I feel like with card games, and again, like games in general, like it can be easier to see like the math throughout it. And so yeah, you have some people out there, they're doing their thing, they're running the numbers, looking at probability and taking certain risk, and there's so much more you could talk about it because, like I said, there's different variants, different play styles. But I wanted to like talk about the basics and get it out there, right? And what I will say, and this is not me trying to lecture you, just putting it out there: never bet more than you can afford to lose. It is the golden rule. If you're out there, you're like playing in a casino or something like that, or you're playing in some like high stakes game and you got money on the line or something else big on the line, just say be careful. And especially with casinos, like the house isn't gonna want to lose. They have to have it so that someone could win. But the idea is like not often, right? Um, so and that's not to say like someone's cheating. It's just like they're being careful. Like the game is played a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like be careful out there. Is all I'm getting at. You can take that with a grain of salt, but just wanted to say something about it. All right. So with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next one. Professor Prime out.